So give her one big clap again, because I think it's really, really cool. Really glad she's here. Now, listen, we have one more speaker before we take a short coffee break. This is Cameron McDonald. And Cameron McDonald is one of Australia's leading experts in leadership. He's got an MBA in business. He was the head dean of one of the biggest business colleges in the country. And he's in demand across the country to be able to make sure that you create a culture that people don't want to leave. They wouldn't, even if they were offered some salary to leave you to go somewhere else, which does happen. Like, some people call up your employees and they're in the LinkedIn DMs going, hey, why are you working there? You should come work for us. No, it happens. Cameron makes sure that you create a culture that they don't even hesitate, like, go away, like, leave us alone. So you're about to be in for a massive treat. So please put your hands together for our good friend, Cameron McDonald. Have fun, man.
Thank you again. Very cool. You're getting something out of today so far? Yes? Taking lots of notes? Yes? Good. Okay, I'm hoping you have got a few things. Hands up if you've got something actionable that you're going to do right away in your business, something that you took away from one of the first 2 sessions. You're like, you know what, I need to do that. Anyone? Yeah? Great. Fantastic. Well, hopefully this next session is going to help you do that as well. So I'm talking today about scaling with a winning team. Scaling with a winning team. What is it that makes a team win? What makes a team tick? What makes a team? What is it about a great team that you've either been a part of or that you would like to build in your business? What made them so fantastic that people just couldn't hold back but be part of it, but chase you down, or, you know, be asking to be part of it, or never want to leave, like Matt was saying earlier? You know, we've just heard today about keeping the dream in mind, starting and remembering that dream and being inspired again about that dream. We've also heard about how to put those legal structures and systems in place so you don't stuff the business up and lose it altogether. That's very important. What I really want to talk about now is what I think is the heartbeat of your business, and that is the team you're building around you. You know, to me, the success or failure of the dream in business isn't just down to us. Often it's down to others we rely on. They might be our team members and our staff that we build around us, but they might also be the team of people like our suppliers, the team of people around us like the partners that we work with in the industry that we rely on to do our business. I've often heard it said that the 5 people who are closest to you will determine your success. And I think it's the same, not just personally, but in business too. Who are you actually surrounding yourself with? So what we're going to do today is talk a bit about this idea. How do you build a culture that people want to be a part of, one that they never want to leave? For me, we've discovered a whole lot in the last couple of years as we've been doing the Business Academy. I've been here right since the beginning. And one thing that's been really interesting is the research that we've done on what it actually is that business owners face when it comes to leading their businesses. What are the biggest pain points when it comes to their people? And so based on over 200 questions that have come in that specifically relate to people, we've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions that have come in from business owners across the country. And of all of those questions, what I went and did was looked at every single one of them, broke them up into their categories, and then found the ones that related to people and leadership. And these were the top 5 biggest issues that business owners face when it comes to leading their people. You can see some of them on the screen here. Recruiting and retaining the right people. Give me a wave if that's a challenge for you. Recruiting and retaining the right people. Yes, okay. Getting out of day-to-day operations. Any business owners in that place, that's a pain point for you. You just need to get out of day-to-day. You want to actually start releasing yourself to focus on the strategic things rather than the operational things. The next one you can see here is just getting buy-in and accountability. How do you build a team that owns the business like you? That's a big one, big pain point. The 4th one you can see here again is about establishing a really strong culture. How do you build a culture where if you walk out of the business and someone else who doesn't know your business walks in, it's the same as if you were there? Or if you launch a new location of your business and someone else walks into that one and then they go walk into another location that's been there for 20 years, it feels the same. Anyone facing that one? That's a challenge for you. You want to build a culture like that. And the last one we've found is one of the biggest challenges is all about structuring and systemizing your people for the growth of the business. Making sure you've got a great leadership pipeline in place, for example. If you need a lot of staff to do what you do, or even if you have a small team and you're growing that business and trying to scale it to the next level, you're going to need some leaders around you who can carry the business with you and for you. To me, the point of the matter is this. Your business, my business, will not grow beyond my capacity and your capacity to lead it. That's the truth of the matter. So it's actually our leadership skill that enables the growth of the business. It's your growth and my growth that enables our businesses to grow. So before we jump into some strategies, because I want to get this, the rest of my time in the next 15 minutes, I want to give you some really key strategies that I believe will help you to do this. We're going to focus on one of these issues, all right? For the sake of the time that we have today, I'm going to pick one of them. By the way, the rest of them we deal with at the Business Academy. So if you're wanting to sign up for the 2-day course, for example, we deal with that there. Okay, you can come and talk to me in the break and ask some questions about a lot of these other things, but we're going to focus on establishing a strong culture across the team. That's my focus in the next few minutes. Before we get there, I want to do a bit of a diagnostic with you. So for the next 2 minutes, here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at this on the screen. If you want, you can take a photo. And what I want you to do, if you're with a business partner or someone here that's working with you, I want you to look at each of the 5 areas on the left-hand side of the screen. These are the 5 things that I mentioned were pain points. Do people know what's expected of them? Are the values lived? Can you bring a sense of buy-in and ownership? Do people have a sense of what's required and the recognition that they get for fulfilling those requirements? And are they accountable? I want you to look at those 5 areas. Then what I want you to do is actually think about, well, are we failing? Are we inconsistent, or are we strong? And I've given you some examples of what that might look like. So 2 minutes on the clock. Get your notes out. If you're on your own, you can think about this yourself. If you're with a team, this is your chance to talk at the table and have a think about where you're at. And all I want you to do is work out red, yellow, or green in each of those 5 areas. Okay? So we can just dial the music up just a little bit. If you have something there we can put on, just gentle behind the scenes. And I'm going to give you the chance for 2 minutes to write down, where am I at with my team? In the areas of clarity, behavior, buy-in, recognition, and accountability. All right, off you go. 2 minutes on the clock. Have a think, have a chat, and we'll come back and talk about some strategies you can use to build your culture. Solo business owner, this is for you. This might be your own leadership diagnostic of yourself, okay? So don't shy away from diagnosing this in your own life. I'm going to give you 1 more minute. Try and quickly diagnose where are you at in each of those 5 areas. 1 more minute on the clock. All right, you got 30 seconds. Seeing a bunch of chatter around the tables. Where are you at? All right, 10 seconds. Okay, all right. All right, we're going to pull it back in now and really quickly just get a feel around the room of where you guys are at in each of these areas. Hands up in the first area of clarity. People know what's expected. Hands up if you were in the red. Anyone, any red around? Okay, we've got a couple in the room. Any yellow? Clarity, okay, really cool. Any green and you're happy, you're feeling great in that area? Great. Okay, what about behavior? So your values are lived out. You can actually see them. It's not just about values on the wall, it's values in the hall, yeah? Where are we at? Red, if that's you. You're not even sure, maybe you don't even have a set of values you've written out and you don't even know what I'm talking about yet. We'll get to that. What about yellow? The values of the business, yeah? And how about green? Okay, not bad. All right, let's go to the next one. What about your buy-in? People have a sense of ownership in the business. Red. Anyone red? Okay, yeah, we got some stuff to talk about. Come see me. If you're in the red in any area, come and talk to me. All right. Yellow, anyone there? Yep. We want to go to the next level. And green? Okay, fantastic. The last two, recognition. So we celebrate the wins. Red. Okay, yellow. Green. All right, and then here's the last one, accountability. So you've got follow through. Everyone knows what they're responsible for and they're held to account for it. By the way, inclusive of yourself. Red, yellow, and green. Okay, really cool. Was anyone not sure of some of them and you're like, I have 1,000 questions? There might have been some of you like that. Again, come and see me. Hopefully I can answer some questions in the next few minutes. Here's what we're going to do with the time we have left. I want you to try and guess the business really quickly. This business was founded in 1985 in the USA. They had rapid expansion into a national footprint over a 10-year period. So they grew quite fast. We're thinking America, right? So large footprint. 57% plus average growth rate during this time. 57% average growth rate. That's a huge growth rate. By 1995, so in that 10-year period, they had an annual revenue in the billions, right? Hands up if you'd like that. Annual revenue in the billions. These guys were named America's most innovative company 6 years in a row, and they were ranked 7th in the Fortune 500 list. Hands up if you wouldn't mind some of those stats being true of your business. Anyone? Yeah? It's inspiring. Here's the values these guys had on the wall. Communication, respect, integrity, and excellence. They sound pretty good, don't they? Do you want to know who it was? Does anyone had a guess, you think? WD-40. Good guess? What was it? McDonald's? No. I'll tell you who it was. It was Enron. If you haven't heard of Enron back in this period of time was the largest criminal fraud case in the history of corporate America. They had those values on the wall: respect, communication, integrity, and excellence. And yet everything went wrong. The wheels fell off. They were lying to their shareholders. They were covering things up under the carpet. So as much as they talked about their values and they had them written on the wall, what really went wrong? Well, what went wrong was that the culture was written on the wall, but it wasn't written in the hearts of the people. It was written on the wall, but it certainly wasn't practiced in the hall. To me, culture is one of the most critical factors to the success of any business. You can tell me all day long that you value excellence, but if I don't see it, you don't. And guess what? Your customers can see it from a mile away. Your clients can see it from a mile away. Here's the truth I want you to remember. Winning teams, they're built different. A winning team culture is not built by default. You need to write that down, right? Often what happens when we start a business is we kick the business off and we're super excited about it and everything's great, and we go about doing what we do, and we often have a great work ethic, and that kind of just snowballs into, a sense of doing things because it's just the way we do it. And then we hire someone else and we never really get the chance to train them properly. So they end up doing things because they saw you do it, but they never learnt why. Anyone identifying in the room? That might have been your experience. Maybe that was your experience when you were just working your own job. This is often how we do things. We do culture by default. But if you want to be at the absolute tippy top, you need to have a culture built by design. And you can do that. It is possible. So right now, I'm going to give you 3 strategies to design your winning team. And I'm going to do it in a world record time of 5 minutes. So be quick, okay? 3 strategies to build a winning team culture. We're going to go for this first one. If you like taking photos, you're welcome to, but I am going to get to the nuts and bolts of this in a second. The first strategy to build that winning team culture by design is you need to model it personally. We can't expect the people in our team to model values we put on the wall if we aren't demonstrating those values in our own life. Because that's just a cognitive dissonance. That's confusion for your team. If they see me doing something that's anti what's on the wall, guess what they'll do? This is what I've learned over many years. People don't rise to the level of your expectations. They rise to the level of the culture that you allow. You following? So I can tell you all day long that I value these types of things, but if I don't follow that up with some accountability, guess what happens? People get away with stuff. They get lazy. And guess what? So do we. So there's no finger pointing here. If anything, the finger's pointing back at us. So for me, culture starts with you. Culture starts with you. For me, alignment amongst our whole team to a culture where we're all modeling that, it happens when every team member knows what success looks like, why it matters, how to contribute, and then they're held accountable to deliver on those results. That's how culture forms. That's how we model it. We've got to make sure that people can see it in us so that they can do it themselves. It gives them confidence to go and do it themselves. So how do we model great culture? Here's some things you can do. Firstly, spend some time writing down between 5 to 7 non-negotiables in your business. 5 to 7 non-negotiables. These are key behaviors that you have discussed either with your team or with your business partner that you believe will get you to your goals. All right? So the starting point here is actually that you set a goal in the first place, right? If I want to be the F1 team of whatever industry I'm in, I need to have a culture that gets me there, right? If I'm going to be the F1 team, for example, think about that, right? The F1 on the weekend. If I want to win the race, I've got to have a team culture that gets me there. If I accept things that don't get me there, that's actually not going to get me to my goal, and it's certainly not the right culture. So your culture has to align to your goals. Set those non-negotiables. The second thing you can do is just take some time regularly to audit your example. Get feedback from people. Listen to your customers. Listen to your people. Listen to their frustrations. I know it sucks. We hate getting bad news, but one of the best things you can ever do for yourself and your team is listen to them, right? There are ways you can do that even as a leader. You can do 360s where it's like fully anonymous and people can tell you all the crap stuff that they don't like about you and you'll never know who it is. It's actually not a bad way to do it because then you never have bias towards anyone unless, of course, you feel like it's everyone, at which point maybe you actually have a problem, not them. There's a whole lot you can do. Show consistency. Do the small things daily. Guard the standard. Call out stuff, but do it respectfully. That's why I put there, address misalignment quickly, calmly, and privately. Don't embarrass anybody. Speak the truth in love, right? So that's our strategy for how we can model it. Here's the second one. You've got to systemize it. If you want to build a great culture in your business, it can't just be, and if it's going to be by design, not default, we need to build consistent rhythms to communicate that culture. Here's the truth. Culture is what happens when you create the conditions and clarity for your people to feel confident, capable, and in control of their work so that they can take the initiative and lead. How do we build those systems? Well, here's a few things. I can't expect consistent results from inconsistent behaviors. Think about it like this. If I want to go and get fit at the gym, I can't do my fitness regime by what I would call project management, e.g. 30-day shred and then nothing for the rest of the year, right? Where's that going to land me? Back where I started, yeah? You can't fix by project what must be implemented by process. Culture is a process thing. It's what you do every day that matters, not what you do every 6 months or every year when you take your team away for a team day. Team days are great, but if they're not followed by consistent, clear action that aligns to what happens on the team day, you just wasted your money. Are we following so far? Is this a bit of a reality check? Hopefully this is helping you. So your values become a culture when they're so normal that they're like the air you breathe, right? I've found that culture's like a fragrance. You smell it before you see it. You smell it before you see where it's coming from. But here's the challenge. Don't put it on the wall unless it's already in the air. Right? There's no point putting your values up on the wall if you haven't worked out the daily rhythms that make that culture happen on the ground, because it will just be confusing for everybody. A couple of things you can do to do this. Take a photo. Identify and empower your culture carriers. You need people to own it with you. They become examples just like you. Co-create your standards. Don't just create them yourself and hand them down on a silver platter to your team as if you're just dictating from on high like a pharaoh or a whatever. You want to actually give people the chance to buy into it by co-creating those things. So give them the value and ask them, hey, what does it look like to show up and do that? Right? I'm going to give you one activity you can do. All right? You can take a photo of the rest, but one activity you can do. This is really, really helpful. Any value that you have in your company, do this. Write a sentence. We insert behavior, right? We are consistent because, then write down why it matters. Because our clients matter most to us. You'll see it when, and then list 3 behaviors that you can physically measure. If you took any value in your business and did that activity, you'll have a list of behavioral actions that you can measure in your business that will change the game. One activity will probably take you an hour to do. You could literally flip your business on its head in a moment. Are you catching this so far? Last thing you can do before I'm going to hand it back. I definitely need to hand it back. Spread it. So you got to model it, you got to systemize it, and then you got to spread it. How do you spread it? Really, really simple. We spread culture through story, and we spread it through celebration. It's literally that simple. In other words, spend more time telling your story and passing it on. I love this quote from Ronald Reagan. Freedom is never more than one generation from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, handed on for them to do the same. Guess what? Culture is the same. You got to fight for it, protect it, and pass it on. How do you do that? Story and celebration. What are you celebrating in your business? If you want to see a culture happen in your business, very specifically, how are you going to celebrate it all the time? Create rhythms of predictability where people can actually guarantee that when I do that action, I get recognized and rewarded. You would be very surprised how quickly you can turn a bad culture around into a very strong one just by doing that. I'm going to hand it back to Matt now. But the last thing I'll say is this. Culture happens with or without you. If you want to influence the culture, you have to define it, you have to share it, and you've got to celebrate it together. That's the end of my time. The last thing I want to do is give you one thing you can do. I'll hand it back to Matt while you take a photo of this. If you want to check out where your culture's at, here's a free gift for you. It's a culture check. You can answer a few questions and it's going to give you a diagnostic of what you can do to turn your culture around. If not, come see me in the foyer. I'll chat to you soon. Over to you, Matt.
Awesome. Give him a big clap. Awesome. That is world class. Seriously, that is world class.